Hello everyone, and I'm Beastly Eel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the latest episode of My Adventures with Superman. In this episode, there were basically two major plot stories going on. One with Lois, Jimmy, and Kara. And then of course we have Brainiac and Clark. So the main thing here was Lois didn't trust Kara whatsoever. She doesn't think that it was she's good. She thinks obviously she's bad because of all the horrible stuff that's gone on since she's been involved in their lives. Very much irritated, aggravated, also just ticked off in general about what's been kind of going on around what's been happening recently with Clark. Kara, on the other hand, was basically like, oh, you're the woman who turned him down and basically broke his heart. And she was kind of just like, doesn't know what to say to that because not wrong, but at the same time doesn't know how to respond to that. So, we have the two of them going back and forth. They finally agree to work together. The three of them are going to break into Brainiac's home and take Clark and get him out of there. Their thought process is the fact that Brainiac always uploads himself every so many hours. That way he's going to be completely disconnected from everything, and they'll be able to sneak in without him noticing and be able to get Clark out of there before he could do anything. That's their plan. So the three of them get suited up and go onto the planet/ship. During this time, we have Clark in a mental battle against Brainiac. Brainiac having him go against all his foes again to try to figure out what is Clark's weakness. Going through, seeing that he overcomes obstacles time and time again, but is unaware of what keeps driving him so much. And for a while, he truly doesn't understand everything that's going on, because he's not understanding how every single time he Clark doesn't have the upper hand, he's knocked down. So we see him face Livewire, we see him face the Parasite suit. We also, I think those were the two main ones. And then obviously we see Brainiac notices that there are people in his memories, two humans, that obviously Brainiac did not think were relevant until Clark makes them relevant by realizing that they're there and wanting to protect them. That's when Brainiac realizes, oh, I now know what's going on here. He wants to protect these creatures. So Brainiac begins to manipulate Clark's mind to the point where he's using his thoughts, memories, and fears, combining it all together to get Clark to hear and see things that did not actually happen. Some of which had to do with the fact of Lois turning on him, wanting to kill him. Others where Jimmy kind of just went up in the air and was like, I give up on this. But a lot of them were of Lois. Of Lois pretty much not so much denouncing him, but more the fact of she was more of like agreeing that there's something wrong with Clark, or that the fact that Clark is a menace and needs to be taken out. Those were like the main premises of everything. And that's when Clark takes over his mind again, or so it seems, and gets Brainiac to lose control of Clark for just a moment, so Clark can then realize the rest of what he's doing. So being like showing him like, this isn't my weakness, this is my strength. You're trying to trick me into thinking that these are real, when in actuality this is real. Brainiac then gains control again and shows the image of Lois breaking up with him right before he and Kara fight. And Brainiac's like, well, did I fake this one? And he's like, no. And he's like, exactly. So clearly she doesn't care about you at all. And that breaks Clark enough, and it's during this time that Kara comes in and tries to stop Brainiac, because she realizes that Brainiac isn't where she thought he was going to be, and he begins to insult her, and she smashes him right in the face. However, during this whole time, it looks like Clark smashes Brainiac in his memory as well, and he goes and flies himself back to Earth, that apparently has his Kryptonian family there waiting for him. And he turns into a child running towards his family. In the end, our friend Brainiac trapped Clark inside of his own mind, or a device that took his consciousness out of him. And during all that, obviously, Brainiac is now in control of Clark. So we now have Lois, Jimmy, and Kara trying to fight a Brainiac-controlled... No, sorry, that's a lie. A Clark-controlled by Brainiac. And he is smacking Kara around like she is nothing. During all this, Jimmy is the one who pulls out the kryptonite and tries to stop Brainiac from doing any more damage. And Brainiac, although we see the green veins and everything else on Brainiac, what we notice is the fact that Brainiac doesn't seem to be... doesn't look to be affected by it. Like, he's still able to move and everything else. However, it's unclear if he's weakened by it, which I would imagine he is. However, it's not affecting him like it did Kara. So he then just realizes that they're weak and pathetic. He opens up the airlock and sends the three of them outside of his ship. And he determines that he's going to destroy all the planets and rule them all under his foot. The three of them get picked up by the gorilla and the brain. They get pulled in. Monsieur, I believe, is his name. The three of them get picked up by them, and they then realize that they are going to have to defeat Clark. And it's not going to be easy because it's Brainiac controlling him. And Clark by himself is strong. You add Brainiac to the mix, and he's even stronger. So Kara's pretty much already thrown in the towel, and that's when Lois is like, no, I'm going to get him back. And she puts on the band that Clark was wearing. And she gets sucked into what I would imagine is Clark's consciousness. So it sounds like, now granted that's the end of the episode, so it sounds like we're going to have the next episode be Lois trying to get Clark breaking out of the I guess the illusion that he's with his family, which is not going to be easy. So I have a feeling we're going to have a very much emotional roller coaster happening in the next episode, where Clark is really knocking Lois down emotionally because she's coming into his utopia and she's destroying it, and she's already destroyed so much of his already, and it's going to take a lot, I think, for it to happen. But I feel like at the end of the next episode he's going to break out mentally and somehow have to fight against Brainiac in the final episode. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to look visually, because I don't know if it's going to be internally, externally, what have you, but I'm very curious to see what that's going to look like. We also know that Supergirl is going to be helping him, and obviously his friends Lois and Jimmy are going to try to help out as well, along with Brain and Monsieur. So other than that, I mean, that's pretty much what we know is going to happen, in the sense of, like, we know that piece is going to happen. However, what it's going to look like, we're going to have to wait and see. So let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not? And why? And as always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night.